A new lawsuit is accusing a cancer charity of only using 1 cent. That's right, 1 cent, one penny out of every dollar to actually help the patients. Can you imagine that? That number sounds so crazy. Y'all probably think I'm misspeaking or you misunderstood. No, for every dollar donated, this charity spends 1 cent to help patients. We still in that state of Maryland. Yo, Maryland been off the hook lately. The Maryland Attorney General, the Secretary of State, the Federal Trade Commission, and other states are accusing the Women's Cancer Fund of deceiving its donors. The Women's Cancer Fund. I gotta say, I gotta say, I'm so glad it wasn't a black fund. But if it had been like the African American Resource Center, if it had been, money for little kids starving in Africa, I'd have been like, yo, we ain't never gonna get no help again. I don't want any charity to be stealing money, but when it's black, it just makes it extra difficult. But anyway, the charity has raised allegedly $18 million. $18 million. But according to the tax filings, cancer patients have gotten only about $195,000. Can you imagine that? They fundraised $18 million, only $195,000 goes to the patients. But here's what's wild about that number. The president of the charity, Gregory Anderson, was paying himself almost $800,000. So he made 4 times as much. He made 4 times as much as they actually gave to the cancer patients. And this is not unusual. I got to be honest with you. I wish that this were unusual. I wish that I could say that this doesn't happen all the time. Now, it doesn't normally happen to this extreme. It's not normally like 1 cent on the dollar, but it's often 20 cents on the dollar. It's often 18 cents on the dollar, sometimes 30 cents on the dollar. But all of those numbers are absurdly low. So a lot of times when we need these nonprofits, and let me not speak to nonprofits, these charities in particular, so much of the money goes to infrastructure. So much of the money goes to paying executives. So much of the money goes to fundraisers. It goes to everything but the thing that you're actually supposed to be handling. And so this is why people are often skeptical of donating to charities, because charities, even if they're well-intentioned, often are so bureaucratic and so front-loaded or top-heavy, rather, with administration, with all this other stuff, that the people who actually deserve it don't get it. Now, sometimes it's just because people poorly run the company. Sometimes it's because they hire so many people to administer and run things because they want it done well that they look up and there just ain't that much money left. But then sometimes, as this appears to be, I don't know, they deserve a full investigation, but as it appears to be, the Women's Cancer Fund, God, can you imagine? Can you imagine the Women's Cancer Fund? This isn't about bureaucracy or poor organizational management. This is about people getting over. If you only get 1%, 1 cent on the dollar, that means you're stealing. So if this turns out to be true and the evidence is damning, then these people are exactly what's wrong with our world, and exactly what's wrong with philanthropy, exactly what's wrong with so many parts of the nonprofit world and not-for-profit world. This is a super big deal, and I hope we pay attention to it. But I also hope that it doesn't stop us from donating to causes that are good and causes that are just. Donate to nonprofits. Donate to social justice movements. Donate to people who are raising money, but make sure when you do that, that you understand their structure. Ask for records. Ask for their tax filings, because this is all public information. Ask for the information that you need to know in order to ensure that that your money is actually going where you expect it to be going. Doug Mitchell said, "How legal is that?" This is not legal. This is part of the challenge, right? Now, I'm not an expert on this, so I don't want to speak to how much, of a cut companies are supposed to get or allowed to keep. I don't want to say how much of an organization has to be structured in a certain way so that the money goes here or there. I don't know that. So I'll let the experts, I'll let the lawyers speak to that. But what I do know is that the fact the Maryland Attorney General, the Secretary of State, and the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, are accusing them of basically fraud. And the reason is because if you're taking only 1%, then you're actually not a charity. I mean, there are for-profit organizations that give that in in-kind donations or in whatever, you know what I mean? So I don't know what the legal threshold is, but I do know that the lawyers are saying that this is not legal. So I'm basing it on them. I don't have any personal expertise on this, so I don't want to speak to it. But 1% on the dollar, come on, y'all.